Everybody, and we are talking now with Officer Paul Tapao, our good friend from the Guam Police Department, about how to conduct yourself if you are a victim of crime. Paul, this is a very sensitive subject. One of the things that, you can tell people what to do, but until you're really in the situation, you can't really predict. But, people in your profession, they still have like some rules that they want to pass on to citizens, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody can play armchair quarterback after the event that happened. But if you're actually a victim of a crime, we recommend comply with the demands. If you feel that, it's a simple robbery and, your situation awareness level gets you to the point to where you understand that they're just going to take the money and leave, go ahead and comply. But if you feel that at that sense of time that there's immediate threat in life, your life particularly, in that given moment.
Someone may hurt you.
Yes. So, your fight or flight instinct should kick in and, do whatever you can instinctively to draw attention to you, to get us, as much strength as you can muster in, and put up a fight. And don't put up a fight to win, put up a fight to flee. You should always have that combination. If the event where you're clicking it into that mode where it's a fight or flight situation, where now, based on what you're seeing, that this is not a robbery anymore, my life is actually in danger. You're going to have to make the assessment. It's a personal decision that you're going to have to make, whether to fight or flight. And we tell the community, we tell people, try not to be a victim, try not to be caught up in situations where you're going to be prone to be a victim. In the event of, like I mentioned, make sure you make your assessments.
Now, how about if people, and you've talked about this before in this segment, that they've invested in products like pepper spray or, over-the-counter mace or things like that. If people arm themselves and try and defend themselves like that, they walk into a bad area of town or something like that, is that kind of like the same thing?
Yes. Train yourself in how you properly deploy it. Train yourself, you should always have it in the ready position. I've seen people who walk into parking lots, just the other day, I was waiting for my daughter who had dance practice, and, this lady was distracted. She had her purse hanging from one hand, she had her cell phone in the other hand, and at the time, it took her about 10 seconds to realize that she needed to get into her car. And by the time she was looking for her purse, it took her another 30 seconds for her to actually retrieve the key from her purse. And that's time. The criminals need that. If you're trained in pepper spray, if you're trained in mace, the keychains and everything, know how to use that. Place it in a keychain where it's readily available in the event a situation should happen. Is just spray, miss, and run. That's all you need to do, spray the miss and run.
This leads directly into this week's Crime of the Week, because we're talking about this type of situation specifically.
Yeah, absolutely. This is, unfortunately, this is a victim who was a victim of an armed robbery that happened in Tumon.
All right, let's find out, and let's find out what you can do to help.
On Saturday, February 13th, officers from the Higganyo Precinct Command entertained a robbery complaint that occurred in Tumon. And according to the police report, at around 3 in the morning, the male victim was walking on the sidewalk by Lifehouse in Tumon, where he noted two guys standing within the sidewalk. As the victim approached them, he was confronted by one of the individuals who was brandishing what looked like a box cutter and demanded the victim's wallet. The victim then took money out of his pocket and attempted to hand the money to the armed suspect. However, the suspect kept demanding the victim's wallet. As the victim was about to hand over his wallet, the victim saw an opportunity to flee, where he then struck the armed suspect on the face, causing the suspect to fall back. As the victim was fleeing, the second suspect grabbed him from behind, where the suspect, armed with a box cutter, managed to slice the victim on his calf, as the victim continued to put up a fight and was able to flee the area. The suspects were only described by the victim to be male locals with dark complexion. They were both wearing board shorts. As a result of the attack, the victim sustained laceration to his leg, which required medical treatment at Naval Hospital Guam. Now, the Guam Crime Stoppers is asking the help from the community relative to this robbery that occurred. If you have any information about this crime or any other crime, please call Guam Crime Stoppers at 477-HELP. That's 477-4357. You can also send a text to 486-HELP. That's 486-4357. You can also submit information of a crime through our webpage at guam.crimestoppersweb.com or call the Guam Police Department at 475-8615, 6 or 7. Guam Crime Stoppers wants to remind the public that we do not use caller ID and you do not have to leave your name. You can receive a cash reward of up to $1,000 if the information provided leads to the arrest and conviction for the person or persons responsible for this crime or any other crime.
All right, Officer Tapao, as we wrap up, I think it was interesting that you cited a situation with, you said, yourself and your daughter. So when those of us are in the care of children, if we find ourselves in a particular situation, most people would say, I'm going to defend that child at, you know, whatever cost, you know, including endangering myself. And most people would say, you know, you're justified in doing that. If you are protecting little ones and everything like that, should you still, like, you know, basically try and, you know, remove yourself from the situation and then, you know, flee?
Absolutely. And, you know, believe it or not, in the training everything that I've received with the Guam Police Department, and of course my personal training in some form of martial arts, the first thing I tell my family, my wife and my kids, in the event of a situation, run. You know, we know what to do. You know, there's a contingency plan that we put out that, you know, I talk to my wife and I talk to my kids. In the event there's a situation, immediately call 911, get to a safe spot. And they know instantly that they have to be in a safe spot. And I'll do my part to protect the family, but instantly, you got to think of safety first. You got to think of, you know, if I put up enough resistance or enough fight to get my loved ones into a safe area, I would, you know, put that effort in. But you always have to have that contingency plan. Make sure you go over your contingency plan, where to go, who to talk to, and, you know, identify what the situation is going on.
Have a plan, execute the plan.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just like the military, just like the football guys.
I don't
just like
even-
your Pittsburgh Steelers would do.
Absolutely. You know, sometimes things don't go according to the plan, but if you stay the course with the plan, you know, eventually good things will come about and everything. But just stay focused, you know. Like I said, little things that you can teach your family, you can teach your kids about. This is who you call, this is 911, identify yourself, know where your location at. That's information that we need.
And then they call you and your colleagues, and then, you know, they can get some real professional help.
Yeah, absolutely.
People make sure they stay safe.
Yeah, absolutely. We're there for everybody.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
All right, everybody. That's Officer Paul Tapao representing GPD, but more importantly, representing you when you are out on the community. One of many responsible Guamanians right here on the island. Stay tuned. We're back after this.